Okay, in this video we're going to look at how to simplify expressions. So let's say we have the expression 3x plus 4 plus x plus 7 plus 3x squared plus 2x squared. Now what simplifying an expression is we want to write this nicer and neater. We want to combine all of our like terms or all of our like tiles. We want to group everything that we can together. So to help us get started, we're going to continue to think in terms of our algebra tiles. Even though we're not physically using them, they're always a good thing to keep in the back of our mind. So let's draw what we have. We have 3 positive x tiles. So I'm going to draw 3 positive x tiles. Remember, this is what you're following along doing in your spiral notebook. So we have 3 positive x tiles, plus 4 means we have 4 positive unit tiles. Again, we're ignoring our expression mat, we're ignoring our algebra tile or our physical algebra tiles. We're just drawing what we see here. Positive 3x, we have a positive 3x tiles. Positive 4, so we have a positive 4 unit tiles. Plus another x, plus 7, plus 3x squared, so we're going to draw 3 positive x squared tiles. And plus 2 more x squared. Okay, this just helps us think and visualize what we have because we want to combine our like terms. So we want to look at what do we have total. So we're going to start with our x squared. So how many x squareds do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5x squared. Now this makes sense because in our original expression we had 3x squared plus 2 more x squared. So 3x squared plus 2x squared is obviously 5x squared because 3 plus 2 is 5. And these are like tiles. We call them like terms. So we add them together. So now let's look at what else we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4x tiles. So we're going to do plus 4x. Okay, we have 3x plus 1 more x is 4x. And last, our units. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. So we have 11 total. And that makes sense because 4 plus 7 more is 11. And this is our answer. And that's all we do. This is what simplifying an expression is. Okay, we just want to combine our like terms, combine our like tiles. As we saw here, we just drew them and then organized what we had. We had 5x squared plus 4x's plus 11 units. So let's try another one where everything's not really positive. We've got to start worrying about what's going to cancel out. So let's say we have 7y plus 3 minus 7y plus y squared minus 3 minus y squared. So here's our next example. Now this one's a little bit different because we see we have a few subtractions, a few negative tiles. Okay, just because these variables are y doesn't mean we do anything different with our variables of x. Variables act the same way. So we just visualize what we have again. We have 7y. So I'm going to draw 7 y tiles. And these are positive, so I'm going to shade them in. Remember, the y tiles were a little bit longer, which is why I'm drawing these a little bit longer than our x tiles before. 3 unit tiles. Now minus 7y. This means we have to draw 7 negative y tiles. So I'm going to draw these and leave them empty. Again, we're not really worrying about our expression map. We just want to visualize what we have. We know subtraction means negative, and that means we have our empty y tiles. And remember, this is how we represent a negative 7y when we're drawing. Plus y squared minus 3, so we have negative 3 unit tiles, and minus a y squared. So we just quickly sketched a representation for this expression. 7y plus 3 minus 7y plus y squared minus 3 minus y squared. This helps us get started as we transition away from using algebra tiles. So now we're going to look at what cancels out. We know what makes zero pairs. We know one of these positive y's are going to cancel out with one of these negative y's. So we have positive 7, so all 7 of these are going to cancel out with all 7 of our negatives. We just go one at a time and cancel them out. And these are all gone. Now we look at our units. We have a positive 3 units and a negative 3 units. All of these are going to cancel out as well. And our positive y squared is going to cancel out with our negative y squared. So these are all gone. So we're left with absolutely nothing. So our final expression is 0. Everything canceled out. Now let's look back at our expression and see if that makes sense. We have 7y minus 7y. That makes sense. That cancels out. 3 minus 3. That cancels out. And y squared minus y squared. So we can see in our expression that everything's going to cancel out. Just like we did by drawing, we saw that everything cancels out and we're left with nothing. All right, so let's try some more. Now let's look at what happens when we have to deal with the negative still and everything doesn't cancel out. We're still left with some left over. So let's say we have our expression 2xy plus 3y minus xy minus 5y plus 2. So we notice we have some of our like tiles. So we know we're going to be able to simplify this because we have like terms. So again, what we want to do until we get very good at this, just doing it in our minds, we want to draw what we have. We have a positive 2xy, so that's our big rectangle. So we're going to draw it and shade it in because it's positive. We have a positive 3y. We have a negative xy. We have a negative 5y. We have a positive 2. So again, we just quickly sketched a representation of this expression to help us visualize what's going on so we could simplify. So now let's look at what's going to cancel out. So we have a positive xy and a negative xy. So one of these are going to cancel out. And we're still left with one left over. Now let's look. We have a positive 3y and a negative 5y. So 3 of these negatives are going to cancel out with 3 of these positives, leaving us with 2 negatives left over. Now this positive 2 doesn't cancel out with anything. There's no other units to combine it with. There's no other units to cancel it out with. So we just leave that alone. So now let's look at what we have left over. So we have our xy tile left over. We have a negative 2y left over. So we're going to just subtract 2y. And we have our plus 2. And this is our simplified expression. We combined our like terms. This makes sense because 2y or 2xy minus xy leaves us with 1xy. 2xy minus 1xy leaves us with 1xy. 3y minus 5y leaves us with negative 2y because 3 minus 5 is negative 2. And we still have our plus 2. It didn't have any other like terms to combine it with, so we just have to leave it along for the ride. It's still there. So why don't you try these examples on your own by pressing pause. I'll write them out. You try them on your own, and then you could hit play to resume to check your work. So let's say we have 2 plus y squared plus 7y plus 4y plus 8y squared plus 5. So press pause, try and answer this one, then press play to resume so you can check our work together. Okay, so let's draw what we have. We have a positive 2 unit tiles. We have a positive y squared tile. We have a positive 7y tiles. Again, we take the time to draw because we know it's better to take 30 seconds on a problem and get it right than get it wrong in 5 seconds. Okay, we're going to draw 4 more y tiles. Eight y squared tiles. And 5 more unit tiles. And they're all positive, that's why we shaded everything in. So now let's look at what's combining our like terms. We see everything's positive, so nothing's going to cancel out. So let's start with our y squareds. How many do we have? Well, we have 8 here for our 8y squared. We have 1 more here for this y squared, so we have a total 9y squared. Now for our y's, we have 4y here. We have 7y here. So we have 4y and another 7y, which gives us 11y, because 4y plus 7y is simply 11y. Now we have 2 units over here. We have 5 more over here. So we have plus 7. Okay, the next example. Again, you're going to press pause, try it on your own, then press play to resume to check your work. So let's say we have negative 6 plus 2x minus 3x squared plus 6 plus 3x squared minus 2x. So press pause, try this one on your own, then press play to check your work. So let's draw our algebra tiles. So we have negative 6. We're going to have negative 6 unit tiles. And it's good if you think you don't need to draw them anymore. That's what we're trying to work towards. But we're going to keep doing it until we get to that point. So we have negative 6 unit tiles, a positive 2 x tiles, negative 3x squared. We just want to make sure we make these squares a little bit bigger than our units, plus 6. So we have a positive 6 unit tiles, plus 3x squared, minus 2x. So here we see we have positive and negative, so stuff's going to cancel out. So let's look what we have. We have negative 6 units over here and a positive 6 units over here. Negative 6 and positive 6 cancel out to nothing, so they're all gone. We have a positive 2x tiles over here. We have a positive 2x here, a negative 2x here, so we know all of these are going to cancel out. Positive 2x and a negative 2x cancel out to nothing as well. And the same thing with negative 3x squared. Negative 3x squared is going to cancel all out with positive 3x squared. So these are all gone, and here we're left with nothing. So to simplify this expression, we see negative 6x and positive 6x cancel out. 2x and negative 2x cancel out. Negative 3x squared, positive 3x squared cancels out, and we're left with nothing. Okay, this example. 7 plus 4y squared plus 3x squared minus 6y squared minus x squared. Again, press pause, try this one on your own, then press play to check your work. So we're going to start by drawing 7 positive unit tiles. Positive 4 y squared tiles. Now we see we have y squared and x squared tiles, so we've got to be really neat when we draw. We know the y squared tiles are bigger than our x squared tiles. We want to make sure we draw it as such. Positive 3x squared tiles. Negative 6y squared tiles. And a negative x squared tile. So let's look what we have. We're going to start with our x squareds. So we see we have a positive 3x squared and a negative 1x squared. So we know one of the positives are going to cancel out with one of the negatives, and we're left with a positive 2x squared left over. Okay, 3x squared minus x squared is 2x squared. One of the positives cancels out with one of the negatives, and we're left with 2 of our positive. Now we're going to go to our y squareds. We have 4 positive y squareds and 6 negative y squared. So 4 of the positives are going to cancel out with 4 of the negatives. And we're going to be left with a negative 2y squared left over. Again, 4 of our positive y squareds cancel out with 4 of our negative y squareds, leaving us with 2 left over. And 4y squared minus 6y squared is negative 2y squared, because 4 minus 6 is negative 2. Now we notice the units, they don't combine with anything, they don't cancel out with anything, so we got to leave them along for the ride. So we have 2x squared minus 2y squared plus 7. Okay, and that's how we simplify basic expressions. Now we're not done. I wanted to show how we can simplify expressions when we start seeing some parentheses and some groups that we have to take care of. So we're going to start by looking at what happens if we see this. Now when we were working with our algebra tiles, this meant we built negative 2x plus 3 in our hands, a negative 2x tiles and a positive 3 unit tiles, and we put this group, we built this group in our hand, then we put this group in our opposite region. But again, we want to start thinking away from using algebra tiles. Now what this means is both of these terms, both our negative 2x and our positive 3 unit tiles are in the opposite region. So this just means we want to take the opposite of every single term, every single tile on the inside. So we have a negative 2x tiles and a positive 3 unit tiles. We're taking the opposite of each. So the opposite of a negative 2x tiles are positive 2x tiles. The opposite of a positive 3 unit tiles are simply negative 3 unit tiles. And that's it. That's all this means. This negative on the outside means we're taking the opposite of every single term on the inside. Again, if we have the opposite of the group 4y squared minus 7y, we just want to take the opposite of everything on the inside. So on the inside, we have a positive 4y squared tiles and a negative 7y tiles. So the opposite of positive 4y squared is negative 4y squared. The opposite of negative 7y is positive 7y. That's all this means. This outside negative of a group just means we're taking the opposite, we're flipping, everything on the inside. So try these two on your own by pressing pause. So try these two, press pause, then press play to resume and check our work. So here we have x minus 2x squared. That's our group, that's our quantity that we're taking the opposite of. So the opposite of x is negative x. The opposite of negative 2x squared is positive 2x squared. It is that simple. So on the right one, the opposite of negative 4y is positive 4y. The opposite of positive 2xy is negative 2xy. Now there's one more type of example that I want to see that kind of combines what we did first with this new idea. So let's say we see the expression 3x plus 4 minus the group x minus 1. So we see we're subtracting a group. So the very first thing we do is what we did up here. We see we have a group, and we see this group's in our opposite region. So we want to flip it up. We want to flip everything on the inside. So our 3x plus 4, that stays by itself. We're not flipping that. That's not part of this group. But we want to flip our x to a negative x, and we want to flip this negative 1 to a positive 1. All we did was we just ignored what was before it. We flipped our positive x to a negative x, and we flipped our negative 1 to a positive 1. And then we just included what's left over. Now we see we have a positive 3x and a negative 1x. This negative x is going to cancel out with one of these positive x's, and we're going to be left with 2x left over because 3x minus x is 2x. Again, one of this negative x is going to cancel out with one of our positive x's, and once that's gone, we're left with 2 positive x's left over, and 4 units plus 1 more unit is 5 units. So try this one on your own, again by pressing pause. And then press play when you're ready to check your work. Okay, so we see we have a group, and we're subtracting this group. We want to flip this group. So let's do it. We want to take the opposite of 4x squared, which is negative 4x squared. We want to take the opposite of positive 2, which is negative 2. And now we want to include everything exactly as it was that wasn't part of that group. So we have 2x squared plus 3x minus 4x squared minus 2. We flipped everything in this group to its opposite. Now we see we have positive 2x squared tiles and a negative 4x squared tiles. So we know both of these positives are going to cancel out with 2 of these negatives. So both 2 positive x squareds are going to cancel out with 2 negative x squareds, and we're going to be left with 2 negative x squareds left over. We have 4 negatives and 2 positives, so they're going to cancel out, and we're going to be left with 2 negatives left over. 3x, there are no other like terms. There are no other x tiles to combine it with or cancel it out with, so that's got to stay. And our minus 2, there are no other unit tiles anywhere to either cancel out or combine it with, so that stays. So our final answer is negative 2x squared plus 3x minus 2. And And that's how we simplify expressions. Again, to get more practice, refer back to your textbook or one of the other online resources so we get better at this essential skill.